Um, my name is T.N.Dhar. I contacted Baba in the year 1944. In 1943, I had him in my dream. A friend of mine told me that there was one Meher Baba who wrote articles in English on spiritual topics. I said, anybody could write, anybody could do it, what is there? Then he brought Baba's picture and his photograph. It didn't appeal me. I said, he doesn't fit in with any pattern of our saints, earlier saints, because they either had long hair. Baba has long hair, but he has a shaven face. This is something unusual. This is something which normally saints don't have. Somehow, it didn't at all impress me. It was the year 1943. At that time, in fact in 1942, Mahatma Gandhi had given a call for Quit India movement. I thought it were Britishers. They had, they wanted somebody to write articles on spiritual topics, and the idea was that to beguile the people. They want to beguile the people, and here is one with a shaven face, with long dresses, and you say, who are keeping ordinary clothes. He could not be even a saint, a good man. Not to speak of saint, he could not be even a good man. So, whenever I met that friend, I casually just... so, this Baba's dress did not appeal me, and I thought he was just paid by the Britishers just to beguile the people. That I sincerely felt. And he could not be a good man, not to speak of a saint. Then after about a month's time, I had a dream. In that dream, I saw, frankly speaking, it was not just a dream, because that type of dream I have only once in life. It could be called even a vision. In that dream, there was a huge crowd. I asked, what's going to happen there? Somebody said, Meher Baba coming here. I said, what time is he coming? They said, he will be coming at 12 noon. I looked to my watch and found it was 11:45. I said, why is he wasting 15 minutes here for Meher Baba? This man who is of doubtful means and all that. Then I said, why not stay? I spoke to myself, why not stay for 15 minutes, let him come, I will cross-examine him, I will put questions to him, and then if he fumbles, if he falters, I will expose him to the people. So I was waiting for 15 minutes, it was 12 o'clock, he didn't come, it was 12:15, he did not come. There I started speaking to people that here he is a fraud, a cheat, not even a gentleman who keeps his word and promise. Look here what type of a man he is. He must be set up by these Britishers, he must be in their pay, and he writes articles on spiritual topics and all that. Just a few more minutes passed, and the crowd broke into two, and from a distance, Meher Baba was coming at the head of a procession, and he was coming towards me. I had only seen his photograph, and also because the crowd had told me that Meher Baba was coming there, I said, he is coming. Then I was not prepared to go to him. I was waiting till he came to me. But the moment he reached me, he was just a few feet from me. I fell down on earth, flat on earth, in salutation to him. I don't know why. Even up to now, I don't know why I did it. I was waiting to cross-examine him and expose him to the public. And I was flat on the ground, on his feet. I had immense joy, the peace that I had never known before, nor do I believe that I will again have similar experience ever. It was immense joy, it was peace, it was delight. Nobody in my position would rise from that position. Like to change that position and rise from the feet of Master, where from you get immense joy, peace, love. So I remained there for a pretty long time. And in this dream, which I may tell you again, it was not an ordinary dream, it was not just a dream, but everything was so clear to me that even after the lapse of all these years, it is as bright in my mind today as it was then. There was no cloudiness in it, there was no dreaminess in it. It was very clear, day-like dream. So, instead of rising from the feet of the Master, what happened? There was a drop screen, as if it was on a stage. And next I found myself standing before Baba. He was looking at me, I was looking at Baba. He asked me what was in my hand. I told him, this is a letter which I have received from you. That was all. Just with a gesture he asked me what there was in my hand. Next, again, involuntarily, I don't know why, because even now I don't know what I did. I took Baba in my lap and took him nearby, where I found that there was a river and there was a boat, a brand new boat. And in that boat, a simple type boat, there were 2 mattresses and there's nothing more. There's no roof, and this was a simple type of a boat. There I placed Baba in the middle of it, against some leaning, and to my surprise now, but not at that time, I found he was a changed man. Here was an old man, only with his lion cloth on. The rest of the body was all naked. And here I found some fire emanating from this place between the eyes and from the forehead. Fire was emanating, which was a sure sign that fire was coming out. And with a big chasm on the breast, it was just a gap. You would feel that there is something vacant in the breast. And with 2 eyes, which were protruding from the body, which were as big like this. And with these very big eyes, the iris alone was as big as my hands. So with those he was looking at me and I was looking at him. The boat started marching of its own accord. It went on for hours together in the dream, so it seemed to me then. And later it reached a lake and which had an island in it, in that the boat stayed only when we stayed on the island, and Baba started climbing the island. I followed him. As soon as Baba saw a stone there, he took his seat on the stone, and the moment he took his seat, he changed his form again. He became a boy of 11 or 12 years old, and it was Krishna, in the form of Krishna. He had a mukat on his head, he had the peacock's crown on his head, and he had all that we know about Krishna, what he wears and how he does. He had a flute in his hand, and he was using the flute. Flute did not produce sound. That I couldn't account for at that time. It didn't occur to me why it was not producing sound, but later I have now, because Baba was silent, therefore even his flute was silent. I knew nothing about it at that time, that Baba was keeping silence and all that. Then I was with Baba for some time there. I looked across the island to see if there was somebody else there. I found my mother at the farthest corner. I called her, "Mother, come, bow down to Meher Baba." Normally I should have said to her, "Mother, you bow down to Krishna, you bow down to God." But again, it's a surprise even to me today why and how I said to her that you bow down to Meher Baba. Probably, obviously it was because I had accompanied Baba and he was changing his forms from one to the other. That was done, and then I wrote a letter to Baba, "I want to have your darshan, I want to see you." Reply came from Baba that when time comes you can have darshan, you can see me. Baba came of his own accord 1 year after that to Kashmir, incognito, and nobody knew about his having come there. He reached on 18th of September, and at about 12:30 in the night he was shown torchlight and taken upstairs on the second floor of a restaurant. Nobody in the hotel knew about Baba. They had given a fictitious address. Baba's name was not disclosed to the hotel people, nor the name of any of his disciples. It was kept a secret, high secret. But next morning, on 19th morning, I was there along with a friend of mine, inquiring from the hotel. Next morning I was with a friend of mine there at the door of the restaurant, and I went to the office of the restaurant inquiring whether Meher Baba was there. They said no. Whether any of his disciples was there, they said no. They did not know anything about Baba. They were not only not disclosing it to me, but they themselves did not know it. Then somehow I felt that Baba was there, so I went on inquiring. I asked from bearers whether Baba was there. They also, each one of them told me that no, Meher Baba was not there. Then I found a small boy bearer. I said, "Let me ask this man." I asked the boy whether Meher Baba was there in the hotel. He said no. Then I asked him the question whether there was somebody in that hotel who was as bright and as beautiful as the morning sun, and who had long hair and shaven face and moustaches. He said, "Kul Maharaj." In Kashmiri language, Kul Maharaj means deaf and dumb. Deaf and dumb Raja, Maharaja. And I told him, yes, I want that man. He said, he pointed towards the upper story, that was the second floor, but told me that I should not disclose it to anybody because he was the solitary witness of this incident. In the hotel, nobody else knew about it, only he knew it, because he happened by chance to be at that late hour in the hotel and nobody else knew about it. So I thought, let me go again to the office and inquire about Baba. The way to office was from the roadside. I went from that roadside. When I was passing along with my friend there, Baba gave a glimpse of himself just for a fraction of a second from above and went inside again. So we rushed upstairs. Only I had climbed the first story. There was a gentleman who was 85 years old and very hefty. He told me, "Where are you going?" I told him, we want to see Meher Baba. He said, who is Meher Baba? I told him, you may not be knowing who is Meher Baba. He said, how do you know Meher Baba is here? I told him, I have seen him from this street, from below. He said, no, Meher Baba is not here. Then after saying so many things, then he said, oh, you are mistaken. You have seen probably my cook. He resembles Meher Baba of Ahmednagar. We could say nothing to him, but somehow I feel that Baba gave a thought in my mind. I told him, Baba put a thought in my mind. I told him, you bring your cook. So he fumbled. He had no such cook with him. Then he started speaking stories here and there, and later told me that he had 5 ladies with him. They were suffering from various diseases. One was from Bright's fever, the other was suffering from cancer, the third one was suffering from tuberculosis, and in that way he gave about 5 diseases that those 5 ladies were suffering from. And if we whispered a little, this might send a thought, this might disturb them, and they will be disturbed, they might die. So we were in search of some virtue. This will only bring some calamity. So he pushed us downstairs and brought us down to the door of the restaurant. When we reached just that position, Baba sent a word from above. Tell them that they will have 1 minute's interview, but they should not disclose about my identity to anybody. Then we were taken to Baba. Baba came out with an alphabet board. He first touched his forehead, which was interpreted by his disciples as, Baba says, you are very fortunate. He with his gesture said that he had come late in the night and we were there before him in the morning. So it was something very strange, who brought you here and all that. He attributed all this to us, but in fact it was he who had brought us to his door and to him. And then he said that he would stay in Kashmir for a month or so, 1 month and a half, and he would go from that hotel to Nishat, and he would stay there. Meanwhile, we should not disturb him, we should not go to him, and he would give us his darshan, that means we could see him only once when he would permit us. And he said, he promised that he would not go from Kashmir before we had his darshan. So, and then he said, don't tell anybody about him. We should not tell anybody about him, about his identity, about his being in Kashmir or anything of that sort. And last he said, don't tell Dr. Daulat Singh about it. Dr. Daulat Singh happened to be the only disciple who knew of Baba, and he was the only man who had seen Baba, met Baba and seen him. And he said, he specifically said we should not tell him about. Dr. Daulat Singh was the only man who had seen Baba from the Kashmir. So we couldn't tell Daulat Singh about it, and when Daulat Singh got some clue or some idea that Baba might have come to Kashmir and he was hiding himself from him, he kept a vigil throughout the night, did not eat his meals, and at about 4 in the morning he took a bath, tied his turban, and then went to Baba's photograph and prayed there, then told Baba, Baba, if you do not want to show yourself to me. I will not try of my own to force my way and see you wherever you are. Only when you will call me, then I will come to you. In next 5 minutes time, a knock was on his door, somebody calling him, and when he opened the door, he was told that Meher Baba was calling him because one of his disciples was suffering from fever and he wanted your services as a doctor. Dr. Daulat Singh went to Baba. There, Baba entrusted Dada Chanji, who was secretary disciple of Baba, to him and told him that you take care of this patient. Dr. Daulat Singh told him that he hadn't that confidence. Then Baba told him either Dr. Daulat Singh looked after the patient himself or he should consult the best doctor available in the area. Dr. Daulat Singh entrusted Dada Chanji in a clinic, in a nursing home of an English doctor. He was the best doctor available in Kashmir at that time, Dr. Rollins by name, and asked Dr. Rollins what was the patient suffering from. Dr. Rollins took all the tests and then told him that he was suffering from a simple fever. Next, when Dr. Daulat Singh along with me, we went to Baba and Baba said what had been done, and Baba was told that Dada Chanji was put in the nursing home of Dr. Rollins. He said what was he suffering from. Dr. Daulat Singh told him, Baba, it was the opinion of Dr. Rollins that he was suffering from simple fever. Baba said, ask him whether he was not suffering from typhoid fever. Then he said, what did he say? Dr. Daulat Singh told him, Baba, he said that he will be all right within 1 or 2 days. He is suffering from simple fever. In a day or two he will be all right. Baba suddenly said that what have you thought about his cremation? Baba suddenly and amazingly said, what have you thought about his cremation? I told him, Baba, we don't know to what religion he belongs. Baba said, it doesn't matter to what religion a man belongs. When he is dead, he is to be buried, he is to be burned, his body is to be thrown into the water, but some arrangement must be done. We are strangers here in this land. Have you thought about it? Then all of a sudden Baba changed the conversation and he said, no, I don't mean that he will certainly die, but suppose he dies, then you must make those arrangements. Next day, when Dr. Daulat Singh met Dr. Rollins and told him whether the patient was not suffering from typhoid, Dr. Rollins rebuked him and told him, had this question been put to me by a layman, it was all right, but by a doctor you should have expected that I had put all the tests before I declared that he was suffering from simple fever. And this message, this information was given to Baba that doctor was of a categorical opinion that the patient was suffering from simple fever and not from typhoid. Baba said, then if such an eminent doctor says that he is not suffering from typhoid, he is suffering from simple fever and he will be all right within a day or two, then it will happen. But what is the harm if samagre, that means if all the goods, if all those things which are needed for a dead man, for his funeral, those are purchased, you purchase them. So Dr. Daulat Singh, myself, 2 other disciples of Baba, we went in a horse-drawn cart and purchased all those things which are needed for a dead man, for his coffin and everything. And yet it was at an hour when the doctor had said, and a very eminent doctor had said, that he was suffering from simple fever. Then after 4 or 5 days, doctor was all apologies, Dr. Rollins was all apologies that the patient was suffering from typhoid, and he had never committed such a mistake before, but this time he did not know what had happened. So after a few days, his condition became worse still, and after about 15 or 16 days, he passed away. That's how Dada Chanji, sacred disciple of Baba, passed away. Yes. Somebody handed a big plate to me with a spoon, and I was to go inside. I went inside the room, it was an empty room. There again I was told to go again inside another room, and when I went inside that, there Baba was sitting in a corner with a big spoon in his hand, and it was full of pudding. And when I was asked to hold my plate, and Baba poured that pudding into that plate. Never before it had happened like this, and there was nothing where from Baba had taken something in that big spoon, that pudding from. I could see that Baba was waiting for me to come so that he would pour in that. And then Baba gave instructions that I should be taken to the dining room and given a good breakfast. I was given a good breakfast there, and then Baba called me to himself. There Baba was giving us a discourse, and what happened? Throughout the day, somebody would bring some sort of sweets, somebody would bring rasagullas, somebody would bring gulab jamuns and all sorts of sweets, and I was fed on those sweets throughout the day. And I realized that I had told myself that let me see what sweets Baba had to offer. This is how Baba would occasionally tell us and give us an idea of his greatness and what he was and what he could do. And I may give you an incident. Baba was staying in 16 President's Estate. There somebody came to tell him, Baba, the President, Shri Rajendra Prasad, wanted to see him and have his darshan. Baba told him, let him go to Tagore Road, the place where Baba was giving darshans to everybody and to laymen. There Baba was told that, Baba, it's not possible for the President to go to such an ordinary place because he has to drive in state, and there are so many formalities. He cannot go there. Baba said, if it is not in his fortune, what can I do? This gives you an idea what was Baba's estimate of this worldly greatness of these people. There in Tagore Road, we had expected big throngs to gather, but somehow Baba had told us in the beginning that there would not be big crowds. People will not come in numbers as we expected. So that's exactly what happened, in spite of our best efforts to collect people for seeing Baba. Then Baba felt that we were somewhat disappointed and dismayed. He told us that such of us as wanted to see his divine game, we should go to Andhra. I was one of the persons who went to Andhra. Baba had about 15 or 16 days tour of Andhra. Baba went from place to place. The very first place where we assembled, and Baba was with us, I asked those disciples what was their expectation of the gathering. They said they had no good expectations. They did not know what would happen, because very few people come to the meetings called in the name of Baba, so they had no expectations. Strangely enough, when Baba came to the meeting place, already about 40,000 people had assembled there. And surprising it was that police had to use lathi to keep the people in order. Baba told them not to do this. And then just Baba's gesture made people to sit in peace and quiet. Then Baba distributed prasad, and I found people had brought gifts for Baba. Some had brought these various fruit, and some had brought even the trees, the plants of bearing fruit for Baba. They showered it on Baba's car. So such was the immense love that they demonstrated there. Then the question was where to have the meeting next day. Baba asked those people to give him a list of the places. They give him a list of the places. Baba ticked off one place, and the question was who would make arrangements of the transport. There were 40 disciples with Baba, and about their lodging, about their eating and everything, no arrangements had been made. Baba said if that can be done, well and good. If that cannot be done, then he would go back. Suddenly so happened that somebody came and he offered to arrange for the transport. Another person came and he offered to arrange for the lodging and board and all that. So next day we went to a place which was about... Next day we went to another place. There Baba would just select a house and go upstairs, and we would follow him without notice to the owners of the house, without anybody's knowledge. He would go and see where their place of worship was, and would go there and take his seat there. Instantly the people would come and start worshipping him, offering gifts to him, or offering prayers to him. He did in one house, and in the matter of minutes the whole locality started arranging their houses and receiving Baba, and they would request Baba to go from house to house, and then he would of his own accord select some and go there. This is what Baba told us, that he would make us see who he was. To most of those people, when we put questions to them whether they knew Baba, they did not know Baba before. They had no knowledge about Baba. Yet they worshipped him as their deity, and they offered flowers and fruit and good gifts to him, and offered their prayers to him. This Baba repeated in so many places, and it was nothing short of a miracle which only Baba could do. Otherwise, who can dare enter the house of a stranger without knowledge, without intimation? And then with about 40 disciples he would go. This is what only Baba, a master like Baba, could do, and what master like Baba did. We went on from place to place, as there was no notice, no arrangements previously made. Yet what happened the next place, the next day we went there. There was better arrangement for eating, better arrangement for lodging, better arrangement, and on the way also, because the place would be selected by Baba just on the previous day, and then the next day we had to march to the next place. And it was surprising that how all those arrangements were made, who came forward, who made those arrangements, and it was really a pleasant time. All the time we were with Baba there, going from place to place. I would like to give you an incident. In 1962, when Chinese had invaded India and there was trouble in Cuba too, it was on 4th of November when the crisis had come, when those Westerners who had come to have Baba's darshan, they were told that they could not fly back because there was trouble in Cuba, and here in India we expected anything. Here in India we expected anything to happen because Chinese had already invaded and they were marching ahead. We were defenseless virtually, and there was not much resistance. So people were feeling dismal and disappointed. At that time when Baba was having his East-West gathering, a number of journalists approached Baba. He was on the dais and there's a gathering of several thousand before Baba, and they put this question to Baba: Baba, what will be the outcome of war? Instantly Baba replied with his gestures, and it was interpreted by his disciples who read him, who can interpret him. Baba pointed, and it was said by the interpreter. Baba says, what can be the outcome of this war? I am here, I am born here in India. What can be the outcome of this war? This is exactly with the gestures also Baba said, I am here, I am born here in India. What can be the outcome of this war? So it was a clear indication that nothing would happen. And there's one, Mr. Sakre, wing commander. He had been posted in Tezpur for some time, and a couple of days earlier when Baba had asked him what were our defense preparations, he told Baba that we were not well defended. In fact, we were poorly defended and anything could happen. Then Baba had told him that nothing would happen. They would come up to the hill foot, and thereafter they would go back. That's exactly what happened. They came to the hill foot, and thereafter they returned back. This is also an incident which reveals how Baba had the knowledge of what was happening. Baba had not only knowledge, but he was embodiment of peace, embodiment of love, embodiment of truth. Such of us who had the good fortune of seeing him and enjoy his presence, we were marveling whether human beings could be of the form and shape of which he was. The very roses, a garland of which was put round his neck, they were resplendent. They had a beauty which is not known to the roses. Baba added splendor and beauty to those roses. Baba's face shone like bright morning. Baba once wrote to me whether I was prepared to send my son to him. I wrote back, Baba, I had no objection. Before my reply could reach him, Baba sent a telegram that I should send my son immediately to him. My son was in Kashmir and I was here in Delhi. he was staying with with my mother, that is his grandmother. And when I wrote to her that she should send my son to Baba, she was reluctant, she refused. She said she would not do, because already her son had gone to Baba, so she was not prepared to send her grandson also to Baba. So she was very reluctant and she said nothing doing. Then what happened? My maternal uncle, he took the horoscope of my son to an astrologer, and when that astrologer, and did not tell him anything about this incident, but they asked the astrologer to say something about the boy. The astrologer told him that the stars of this boy are in such zodiacs that he should immediately be taken out from Kashmir, and otherwise his life was in danger. When my mother was told about this incident, this thing, she requested them, please take him to Baba. And my son, who was only about 13 years, he came alone from Kashmir to Delhi. And from here I told him I would accompany him, but he said no, he would go alone. And from here also he went alone to Baba. And there, Baba had already sent Mr. Kishan Singh to receive him from the railway station, and he was to be taken to Mussoorie. He was taken there. My son, he used to take fright if he was left alone in dark during the night. So when he reached Baba, he had that apprehension in his mind, probably that might happen. But nothing like that happened. Baba would go every day to him, even during sleeping hours. He would find whenever his eye would open, he would see Baba before him. And he was happy. Then Baba asked him whether he was prepared to slap Baba. The boy told him, yes Baba, if you tell me I will do it. He told him whether he could go naked and roam in this city. He told him, Baba, if you tell me I will do it. And then he told him whether he could do anything else also, but Baba would tell him. He told him, Baba, whatever you will tell me, I will do it. Baba was happy, and then he asked him to make some promises, that he should never speak lies, that he should remember Baba, and he should do good deeds, and then sent him back. I forgot to tell you one thing. When Dada Chanji was being cremated, at that time I narrated this story, what Baba said about him beforehand, to one of his disciples, Keshav. When I told Keshav that Baba had said like this, because what Baba had said, that he had told in presence of Dr. Daulat Singh, myself and one or two disciples. All the disciples were not there. So when I told Keshav, told me that the moment, that very first day when Dada Chanji had fever, Baba had dictated a telegram to him, and in that telegram Baba wrote that Dada Chanji was suffering from typhoid fever. He was entrusted with the care of an eminent English doctor, the best available in the land, and in spite of all his efforts, and he tried his best, Dada Chanji could not survive. He died dash. So in the dash, this morning or evening was to be filled. The telegram was dictated on the very first day, when it was said that Dada Chanji was only suffering from fever. The telegram was dictated, and what remained to be done was morning or evening had to be filled in that. He showed me that telegram and told me that he had just dispatched that telegram there. There, suddenly a thought came to me, because Baba did not visit Dada Chanji in the hospital. Not even a single day he went to see him. I said, what is this Baba doing? his best disciple, his secretary disciple, he is not visiting him in the hospital even. So, but even though he might be doing it, but he must be really feeling very sad, and his face also must be showing the signs of grief. What happened while I was returning back from the cremation ground? On the way, there was a horse-drawn cart. It crossed another in which I was going, and I had a faint feeling that Baba might have been in that other one, horse-drawn cart. But the two crossed each other. They both were racing for time, and I was suddenly I said, what to do? I was going to the court. I had to attend a case there. I said, I was now thinking what I should do, but suddenly I decided, no, I should come down. I came down, paid the cart driver, and then turned round and was looking for the cart which Baba was probably, because I so guessed he might have been going in that, and but that was no more visible. Then I went on in that, on